So, as I was saying, as a result of man's sin, he was disconnected from having the possibility of direct interaction with the Almighty. The direct interaction with the Almighty make the era in the Garden of Eden to be referred to as the era of substance. There was no type, there was no typification. It was just direct. There was no symbolization. It was just direct. There was no representation. It was just direct. Man was just communicating with his maker as a son would communicate with his biological father. That was how it was in the Garden of Eden before sin came into the picture. Now, man lost it. Man lost that privilege, and the era of substance was gone. And another era was opened when man was driven out of the garden, and that is the era of shadow, that man could no longer see the face of God. It was even difficult for man to call on God. It was when Seth was born that man now started calling on God again. And then God started building a bridge, trying to see how man, not trying to making a way through which man can be able to still relate with him. And then the issue of symbolization, representation, was brought into place. And then you begin to see the use of various items to see that man can be able to connect with God again. And then the issue of animal sacrifices were implemented, and then the issue of the burning of incense and the burning of candles, the issue of the use of water, the use of garments, and various practices were necessitated in order to be able to reach out to God. And these things, they now represent an avenue through which man can relate with God. And so man could no longer see God, but man could seek his face. And that brings about the possibility of his shadow, which he expressed Moses, that he spoke to as a friend will speak to his friend. He made Moses to understand that if Moses sees his face, he will die. And he appeared to Moses, the shadow. He allows the shadow to pass through Moses, and Moses saw his back, but could not see his face. So it was an era of shadow, an era where something was used to represent the possibility of fellowshipping with the Almighty. And that was what led to all those things which the church in the wilderness were involved with, the instructions that were given to them, the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy and the Holy of Holies, just to mention but a few, the various rituals that are found in the days the days of the era of shadow. We're talking about many things that were being done there, of different kinds of offerings, different kinds of sacrifices, issue of purification. Don't eat this, eat that, all this to make it possible for man to be able to have fellowship with God, courtesy of the era of shadow. But suffice it to note that it is important to understand and appreciate the fact that in this era of shadow, it's an era of incompletion, it's an era that is full of lapses that Satan took advantage of.